It's election fever here in Trinidad and Tobago, with local government elections carded for August 14th. Candidates have been announced, nominations are in, and I suppose the campaigning is just smack bang in the middle of everything now. Candidates have already expressed their major concerns. This morning we're focusing on Port of Spain in particular, but this is with a bit of a twist. I'm joined by Fuad Abu Bakr. He is the PDP candidate for Belmont North and East. This morning we're having a conversation as to precisely why the Progressive Democratic Patriots, and if his visions as a young individual in politics, well, a young man, I say, who's been in politics for quite some time, could actually be achieved under the umbrella of the PDP. So Mr. Abu Bakr is actually with me in studio this morning. Hello, sir. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me, and good morning to Trinidad and Tobago. I would like to extend Eid greetings for those of the Muslim community who are celebrating Eid today, and obviously for those who are celebrating tomorrow, an early Eid greeting as well.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Abu Bakr, for joining me this morning. I'll start by asking you, very simply actually, from the political leader of the New National Vision to the candidate for the Progressive Democratic Patriots for Belmont North East, why?
So just to correct, the district is Belmont North and West.
Thank you.
It could get a little confusing as well sometimes. I am committed to achieving the goal that people need in Trinidad and Tobago, and that is fundamental change in politics. I have shown my willingness prior to put aside political vehicle and name in terms of party for the benefit of progressing forward and moving forward towards the aim and direction that I need to go. So it's as simple as that. If we can achieve the goal of bringing this better politics and this real change to Trinidad and Tobago, and it is better served at the point in time by working with, aligning with, even putting aside the brand, whatever logo it represents and color, you know, I am willing to do that. I'm not a fanatic. I do not push this blind loyalty to some emblem and color, which has become very dominant in Trinidad and Tobago politics with the two major parties. What we are about and what I am about is policy. What I am about is working assiduously towards bringing that change to Trinidad and Tobago that is absolutely necessary at this point. Mm-hmm. So that is the underpinning for my decision. It is difficult to achieve some things on your own, and therein lies the necessity at times to work with others. And there's an excellent group of other individuals. I want to point out, in particular in the Port of Spain area, which we are contesting strongly, that I am working with. And we feel strongly that we could make a serious impact on Trinidad and Tobago by wrestling away this Port of Spain, the city of Port of Spain, from the somewhat dominant party that has existed for quite some time.
Now, quite a lot was said there. It's a lot to dissect, actually, but that's good. You've mentioned that it is difficult to sometimes do it on your own, but you've also said wrestling away from the dominant factor that is here in Port of Spain, sometimes what is considered a safe seat. And safe seats when it comes to local government elections. In that particular instance, the vision that you have for Port of Spain and Trinidad and Tobago, the policy you envision or the policy you see as necessary, is it that you yourself do not believe it could be achieved on your own, say if you ran as an independent, rather than running under the umbrella of a political party?
It is tremendously more difficult to achieve on your own. Just the organization of individuals together, because obviously the Port of Spain Corporation consists of 12 districts that in itself says to you, you cannot do it as an individual. While we do have the support of other people who have tirelessly worked with the new national vision in the past, and I want to thank them for their work over the past 15 years, people who have offered themselves for service against the grain, against major challenges over the past few years. At this stage, at this point in time, it is necessary for us to work with others. The PDP has been able to bring together different individuals, some who have been with other parties as well, the PPM, others who have been with the PNM as well, to create this synergy. And what drives us is this overarching understanding that our work is for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. That is what we are doing. It would be tremendously more easy for some of us to just fall in with the big party or the bigger parties and have that support and toe the line. But we do not want to toe the line. What we are about is fundamental change. We are about challenging those that exist because we feel strongly it is not good enough.
Before I get into to more of what you initially responded with, you just thank those who put themselves forward to serve under the new national vision.
Yes.
By you suggesting that, is this now the end of the new national vision? And if it is not the end of the new national vision, is it that another option would have been forming a coalition with the Progressive Democratic Patriots?
So the structure of which we have agreed to, we see that as the best way forward at this point in time. Everyone has the option to change in the future. For this local government election, this is essential for us. And this is a litmus test, so to speak, for us. We will see how we progress together. It might well be the case that in the future we work with other people as well. Politics is not one that is cast in stone. As I said very early on, we do not hold the ideology of this forever and that forever. I am Trinbagonian forever. I am human being forever. The vehicle that we use to achieve what we need as change in Trinidad and Tobago is less important than that. A new national vision will forever exist within me and within the individuals who understand what we are about. And the efforts that we are making with the PDP encompass that new national vision. It is not a word or a symbol or a color. It is an understanding that we need to make an effort to do different things because what we are doing is not succeeding in Trinidad and Tobago, right? And I could go into policy and other things as well. A new national vision, a new vision for Trinidad and Tobago forever exists within me. And on my campaign, you may find me speaking about that vision because that is what I believe in. And I would like to say that the PDP as well believes in that new vision for Trinidad and Tobago, that people before politics, instead of what pertains today. I can draw the example of the city of Port of Spain, absolutely degrading, for people who have seen other cities, other capital cities. Trinidad and Tobago can do much better.
Let's actually speak about that now. What are some of the issues identified by your team and this team that you're working with? What are some of the issues identified that are currently plaguing Port of Spain or have plagued Port of Spain that is also reflective of Trinidad and Tobago as a whole, Port of Spain being our capital? What is, what are the issues that have been ignored that you seek to address, and that, by extension, is reflective of TNT?
You walk down the streets of our main city, and you better look to the ground because you are going to encounter faces, human and animal, along the streets, as I did yesterday. Fortunately, you know, I was able to spot it before I walked through it. You walk through the city of Port of Spain, and you have to be very cautious with the mentally, you know, disturbed, the homeless, who present a challenge to you even in transiting through the city, because you don't know when their outbursts are going to come. You walk through the city of Port of Spain shopping or transiting, because it's a big transport hub as well, and you have to be cautious about your safety, because you don't know if there's going to be a drive-by robbing, you know, some form of serious crime. Speaking to residents day before yesterday, you know, elder people feeling as though they can't come out of their homes because they are afraid of conflict between communities. So we have in Davis Street, which is in my district, an ongoing whatever conflict that is costing the lives of our citizens. And I mean, I could go on and on, the degradation of our infrastructure, the flash flooding that took place yesterday within, I mean, yesterday's rains were a little longer, but sometimes 20 minutes. And you can't pass through the city or its extensions. Unemployment, everywhere you turn within my district and even the surrounding districts, you find young people who are supposed to be full of hope, the engine of your society, strength and vigor, without work, asking, you know, what happening, boy? Yeah, anything for me to do? You know, and I can go on and on. There's a neglect by our city, by those in positions of responsibility. There's the turning of a blind eye to all that exists and all that is degrading. I feel as though those who are in positions of responsibility don't even have the will to make it better.
That's a very important point that you raised there. That turning of a blind eye.
Yeah.
And I think you're probably about to answer the question, actually. What do you think is the cause of that? Because you mentioned young people. In your opinion, the gap between the youth of Trinidad and Tobago and politicians who have been there for generations, in your opinion, do you think that is probably the main cause for turning a blind eye?
There's an apathy for the people of Trinidad and Tobago by politicians. Right? Let me break it down. Apathy is a big word. There's a disdain, a dislike. There is no love from the leaders of Trinidad and Tobago for the people, the average people of Trinidad and Tobago. They are totally disconnected. They have displayed it continuously with their neglect of their responsibility, and they have displayed it in words. We had the unfortunate circumstance that we sat down and listened to members of parliament for Port of Spain and other regions talking about ride bicycle and buy coal pot if you can't deal with the gas price increases. You know, we had people who do not know what it is to not have, to be unemployed, to lose hope, to live in conditions subpar than what humans are supposed to live in. They do not understand. They do not care to understand. They do not visit their electors. And that is definitely one of the major reasons that we are in this mess today. There's a lack of love and care for the people that constantly our electors go out and vote for. And that has to change.
How do you change that? Because yes, there's that lack of love, as you just expressed, and it seems as though politicians, at times, I wonder myself whether or not they're out of touch with reality. But how do you change the mindset? Because, yes, these individuals are still elected every election. We have one individual right now, her home in Morva has been plagued by issues. She blames a burst washer main not being fixed. She says her member of parliament's office is right down the road from her home, and it's been close to 12 years now that she cannot get this sorted out. She expressed, this is a stronghold. We put you there. These individuals are voted in every single election. So is it that even though there's no love from politicians, that the love from the citizens, or is it blind?
Yeah, it's something that we have engaged, and we are trying to teach this level of self-worth of individuals, this understanding of loving yourself, of understanding the responsibility that those you elect have. But even further than that, if you analyze what takes place in Port of Spain, which has the lowest voter turnout, you find that the People's National Movement win by default. There is not a serious challenge to the People's National Movement in the Port of Spain area. Maybe it's because the main opposition party is based and rooted in a different area, so to speak. But there is the lowest voter turnout in Port of Spain. People have already said by 65% of the electorate not voting that they don't want anything that exists. Many of them are disenchanted with the political system. The fact that what choice do we really have between dumb and dumber or whatever, or heartless and heartless? One of my constituents said mustard and ketchup. They fed up with that, you know? And we are trying to present a real alternative for them in this neglected city, so that they can express themselves, so they can express a love for themselves, so they can express the hope for betterment, so they can express their absolute dissatisfaction with what exists now. And I really implore, I ask of the people of Belmont North and West, and also the wider Port of Spain area and the other places where real alternatives exist. Look to whoever is being offered, see if they have the people's business at heart. Use your political brain to understand that a real challenge and a real moving away will cause even those who exist to act better, to make a better effort. I want to implore our citizens, those who have not voted, have never voted, make that effort. I want to ask those mothers and fathers and others who have voted for other parties in the past to give something new a chance. Give yourself a chance. We know what exists. It is not good enough for Trinidad and Tobago.
What are some of the changes that are needed within the actual corporation to resolve all these issues that you speak of within the corporation setting, whether it be policy, whether it be direction? Do you think that if you are successful come August 14th, that such can still be achieved, everything that you speak of, if you are still under a central government that is not necessarily in charge of local government?
Yeah, and this is something that we have spoken about and thought about at length. The best position for Trinidad and Tobago to be in is a position where our regional corporations in our cities are run by different parties, and our central government, even if it has to retain and remain for now under the control of the People's National Movement, But what will happen is that they will understand that their time is nigh unless they make a serious effort to meet the demands of the people. It's the same people who exist in these smaller districts who make up the electorate for the same general elections that are so coveted by these major parties. It will put them in the position that they have to work. They have to satisfy us. It is about taking back that power and putting it in the hands of the people. Apart from that, when we win the Port of Spain city, the majority of districts, and we are able to form council with others, we would be able to drive policy in whatever way possible with the limited budgets that we have, $30 million a year. I mean, with two years till general election as well, I think it would be increased significantly. We would be able to drive projects to deal with these macro issues that we face in the smaller districts. So, for instance, crime, we understand the connection between crime and unemployment and hopelessness of our youth. We have specific programs that we want to engage in and take those youths off of the street, render them positive instead of what is existing at this point in time. You know, the infrastructure within our communities is in a deplorable condition. I was saying to some of the residents yesterday, I can't promise you your street, but we will go through the entire district and we will deal with what is most necessary first. It's not a matter of this person is installed with PNM, so them driveway that get paved, that didn't need to pave, we will pave it, which they have seen within their district. You know, there are so many things that we can do. We want to drive small agro programs where we can guide youth into this labor-intensive field that is highly productive so that they can feed themselves and they can see an avenue towards change.
This all sounds very well and good, but it does not necessarily sound different to any other political entity, political party that is an opposition.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound much different. So
maybe even a government as well. Everybody talks the talk, you know, kind of. I feel as though the existing party who is in government doesn't even bother to talk the talk. You know, they are in a different dimension in terms of comfort zone. So I haven't even heard, you know, these ideas. But it is a fact that none of them have realized these changes, and they have had the ability to because they have sat in the positions of responsibility and power with the resources. So we know that that is a failure.
Could the Progressive Democratic Patriots be considered as a serious party, as a serious alternative? And I know that's a rather odd question given the fact that you've already, you know, stated strongly the ideology, the vision shared by you and your running mates. Could the PDP be considered a strong alternative? Could it even be taken seriously given everything that has happened within the last year, I suppose, or few months, even with its political leader, who says he's the owner of the party?
It is definitely a vehicle for the change that we need in Port of Spain and in Trinidad and Tobago. This is another step towards people owning their politics. And we understand what exists. We need people who are actually going to work for us. We need individuals who are people-oriented, who have that love and that will for Trinidad and Tobago. And I would like to state unequivocally that I've looked across the landscape and the candidates that we offer for this local government election are the best candidates that are available within their districts. With my heart, with my will, because I could surely speak for myself. Man is extremely deceitful at times. They will tell you the best of things, but within them lies differently. With my will and my heart for Trinidad and Tobago, I will only be part of and work towards the betterment of Trinidad and Tobago. And from the time that I see, and I've been part of other groups before, other non-governmental groups, pressure groups, etc. From the time that I see that the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago are not best served by whatever entity, I will make the first step to deal with whatever exists other than that.
Not that I'm blaming citizens, but in that sense as well, do you think the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago best serve Trinidad and Tobago?
We have made bad decisions in the past. Like I said, when you feel as though you have no option as well, in the city of Port of Spain, people just do not vote. If you look at the younger demographic as well, there's an apathy towards the political system. And that speaks negatively towards what we hold up as democracy. If people are not participating in the process, then where is the underpinning and where is the strength or even the mandate from the people themselves? It is extremely negative that a country will have such low turnouts. It speaks to the total dissatisfaction from the entire process. Mm-hmm. And we need to be more sensible as we move forward. As I appealed before, I appeal again to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. We may have made mistakes in the past. We may have made wrong decisions. We may have felt as though, we have no choice. And we are trying at this point in time our very best to offer a real choice for Trinidad and Tobago.
Final question to you. If given the opportunity, if you were given the opportunity, even in the future to come, given the opportunity, would Fuad Abu Bakr serve under any other political vehicle?
As I said earlier on, I have demonstrated that the vehicle is not the important thing, the destination. And this is where it is fundamental for me to have a role that will enable this vehicle to go to the right direction. So I know people might go back on my situation with PNM a couple of years ago. If I am part of any political vehicle, it will be to the extent that I am able to navigate, to steer, to help carry that vehicle to the point where it serves Trinidad and Tobago. Mm-hmm. And if that vehicle does not want Fuad Abu Bakr, it is because they don't want to reach to the destination of serving the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Anyone who works with Fuad Abu Bakr understands that that is my goal and that is my ambition. And they have to take that into serious consideration when they court me or when they ask me to be part of whatever entity. Because that is what it is about. Mm-hmm. What other politicians are about, the accumulation of wealth, power, ego, self-aggrandizement, all those other things that exist. Trust me, they exist. That is not what I am about. And I ask people to pray. Pray to your Creator for the power of discernment. Pray so that you can look your proposed leaders in their eyes. Use your brain. Think carefully and understand what they are about. And once you understand that, then you would be able to make, better decisions for yourselves. It is us that will be governed for the next 4 years locally by whoever, and it is us who are, after 2 years will be governed by whoever we choose again for the next 5 years, and that impacts our lives tremendously.
Mr. Fuad Abu Bakr, wish you all the very best in your campaign, sir. And come August 14th, let's see if such visions are realized. But for now, sir, all the very best, and thank you very much for joining me on the program this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
Keep well, sir. All the best.
You too.